Good morning, everybody. KT here with Wise Images Photography, and welcome to my channel, Wise Images. It's so great to have you guys here today. In today's episode, we are going to go ahead and talk about some of the mistakes that I have made as a professional photographer, and I'm hoping that because you hear them here, when these things happen to you and you're out in the field, you will know how to respond to that situation. So I'm going to go over 3 simple tips to help you out when you're out in the field. So let's get going. So one day I was out at the Orlando wetlands, and before I actually bought my lens, I tried out my friend's lenses. I rented some lenses, and I had rented a lens, so obviously I wasn't very familiar with this lens. And so I was walking all through the park and everything, taking photographs and whatnot. And then I started to go out to by the parking lot, and all of a sudden I looked behind me and I noticed that there was some objects down the road. So I decided I'd start walking down the road so that I could maybe get a little bit closer into range. And all of a sudden I take my camera, I lift up and I go to take a shot, and I'm trying to get it to focus, and I'm like, what is on earth is going on? And then I'm like, I reposition, you know, I'm like, okay, maybe there's something. And I'm sitting there, and here I am at this point, I'm like, I brought it up and I'm trying to look for it. I'm like going, oh my goodness. I'm like, ah. And so I reposition again, and needless to say, by this point, the baby raccoons with the mama just took off. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my camera, and I'm like, what on earth is wrong? So I sat there and I kind of looked at my camera, and then I looked at the lens, and then all of a sudden I noticed that on the lens there was the manual focus versus autofocus on the lens. And somehow I had managed to hit it while I was walking around for the day. So needless to say, I missed the shot, all because I did not remember to make sure that the lens was on autofocus. So if you ever get and you're wondering why is your lens not working, why are you not able to focus, it could be because you are on manual mode and not autofocus mode. So number 1, make sure you are in autofocus mode. So the next one, you know, when I came back and I restarted my second company with Wise Images Photography, I went from a DX camera to an FX camera, and so I kind of had like a new camera coming into the gates, so to speak. And so I was still trying to get used to my D750 or whatnot. And needless to say, this one got where I was trying to use the toggle switch, and I couldn't use the toggle switch. So I couldn't, you know, go into my menus anymore. I couldn't preview and review any of my photographs anymore because it wasn't moving. None of the photographs are moving. And I'm like, well, what on earth is going on? And I didn't even know what to look up online to be able to try to figure out what was going on with my camera. So I'd had a bridal show that was coming up that weekend, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm gonna ask one of my other photographer friends and see if they know, you know, what's going on here, see if any of them have ever had the same issue. So needless to say, I go to the bridal show, I'm working the bridal show, and when we got a little bit slower, I went ahead and went over to my friend's booth, and I was like, hey, I'm like going, I can't move my toggle switch, and I don't know what's going on. So she actually giggled a little bit because she's had the same problem too. And basically it turned out to be that there was a lock on the toggle switch that I didn't know about it. So it was just a real quick flip of the thumb and I was back in business again. So number 2 is check to make sure you don't have any kind of lock on your camera. And this can go for your lenses as well. Now, if you're not afraid to ask for help, please make sure you hit that like button so that others are encouraged to ask questions when they have them. Now let's move on to the next mistake, which is number 3. It is switching modes. So when I'm doing my video, what I tend to do is I do go back to autofocus mode on my dial. And then I go ahead and I switch over to live mode and I go ahead and start videoing. Now a lot of times what happens is I get busy, I get distracted, and all of a sudden I want to start taking photos again. So I'll switch back to manual mode to do my photographs. But then I have oftentimes sat there and tried to take more photos, and for whatever reason, my camera is not working. And what it has to deal with is I forgot to switch camera live view status from video mode back to camera mode. So if you ever find that maybe your camera's not firing off for whatever reason and you go back and forth between video and photo, that might be the reason why it's not working. I want to be able to hear from you guys, so please make sure if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below for me. And if you like this kind of content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss any future episodes. Thank you for tuning in today. You're awesome. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you later, alligator.